Picture this. It's November 11th, 2004. You have just received news of a new Kingdom Hearts game titled Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. You quickly rush to the store to buy this revolutionary new video game and intend to have as much fun with this game as you had with the very first one. Unbeknownst to you, the second Kingdom Hearts game in the series is absolute trash. You think about maybe skipping the game and returning it back to the store, but unfortunately, you're told by everybody you know that it has an extremely important story and unfortunately can't be skipped. You then continue to sadly play through the rest of the game solely for the story and nothing else, while treading through the most painful and horrible gameplay mechanics to ever exist in a Kingdom Hearts game ever. That's how bad it was. The story of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories is only slightly more complicated than the first game. It opens up on Sora, Donald, and Goofy looking for Riku and the King, when they suddenly end up at the foot of a castle that none of them recognize. As soon as they walk in, they completely forget all of their attacks and spells. A man in the black coat appears before them and begins to explain that Castle Oblivion is an ever-morphing building that uses the memories of those inside it to form rooms the size of worlds. And as they go through the castle more and more, they begin to forget more about their past adventures in Kingdom Hearts 1. And Sora begins to forget about Kairi and instead remember a girl that he used to know named Naminé. Every room of the castle is a world from the previous game, and sometimes they even meet people in black coats that call themselves part of something called Organization 13. Crazy things like this keep happening over the whole game, including meeting Riku over and over again. But he's not really Riku, he's actually just a replica of Riku. Eventually, the group gets to the end of the castle and they actually meet the girl named Naminé in person. She explains to them that the reason they've been forgetting stuff the whole time wasn't actually because of the castle, but because of her, and she's being held hostage by the Organization 13 leader, named Marluxia. They fight Marluxia, and the Riku replica from earlier sacrifices himself to destroy Marluxia once and for all. Sora frees Naminé, and she tells him that the day is not yet won. They still don't have any of their memories, and if they want to get them back, then they'll have to enter a pod that will help them heal. But in exchange, they'll forget all about Castle Oblivion and all the events that transpired in this game, and Sora needs to make a choice. Of course, he picks to remember his past adventures, because literally who, would want to forget everything about their life in order to remember this one girl that they only met 1 hour ago? And Naminé puts them in a pod. But before they go, Naminé steals Jiminy Cricket's journal, because he's in this game too, and erases the entire thing except for 2 words. Thank Naminé. Now everybody gets in a pod and goes to sleep for 1 year, and the next time they awake, it'll be in Kingdom Hearts 2. It's a pretty crazy game to experience for the first time, but once you finish the main story, the fun isn't over yet. Because once you finish Sora's story, you unlock Riku's story. This one is only about 1/4 the length of the main story, but you also still need to experience this one, because it's the one that shows you how Riku and Mickey got out of the Land of Darkness. The second story opens up on Riku and Mickey already inside the castle with no explanation at all. You play as Riku and Mickey traversing through Castle Oblivion as you meet 2 other members of the evil Organization 13, the Riku replica, and even Naminé. Eventually, when you get to the end, Naminé tells Riku everything about how Sora is in the pod to regain his memories, and tells him that Ansem's darkness is still inside of him, and that he also needs to make a choice. He can either go to sleep just like Sora, and Naminé will lock away Ansem's darkness forever so that it can never return, or he can stay awake and fight Ansem's darkness in the next room for dominance once and for all. Of course, Riku chooses to fight Ansem and beats him as the final boss. Him and Mickey are allowed to leave Castle Oblivion, and that is the end of the game. But Farron, that doesn't sound like a horrible game like you described. That actually sounds like a pretty good game with a good story and a conclusion that sets up the next games to come. While I admit that there's nothing wrong with the story of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, I was more referring to the gameplay. Now, If there are any kids in the room watching this video, I advise for you to shut your ears for this next part because it is absolutely horrifying and contains extremely accurate descriptions of horrible early 2000 video game gimmicks. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories did not have different buttons and different maneuvers and abilities for you to equip over time as you progress the game. The game instead opted to include a card mechanic. Over the course of the game, you would collect cards in which you would equip to your main deck. These cards would show up in a cycle in the bottom left corner, and instead of having different buttons to do different attacks, if you pressed the A button, it would use whatever card you had selected. This completely got rid of the excitement of having different buttons do different things, and being able to map magic items to a quick select menu, and instead made this game extremely janky to play because you would only have 3 buttons, and that you would need to press the entire time. The up and down button to cycle through your deck, and the select button to confirm. On top of that, rooms were now divided into medium-sized areas, in which there would now have multiple heartless enemies that would throw you into battle in a completely different area with even more heartless enemies. If you encountered one at the end of each room, you would need a specific card to open the door to get to the next room. So, if you decided to skip the wrong heartless battle and go straight to the end of the room instead, then you were forced to track all the way back and find it. Also, this is the only Kingdom Hearts game to have the lock-on button be the very back trigger instead of the front trigger. That last detail isn't as important, but it's still pretty big because besides this game, it stayed the same throughout every single other game. Similar to the last game, I actually didn't beat this one either, but unlike the last game, it wasn't because I had enjoyed the rest of it through and through and until the very, very end, and then shamefully have not been able to beat the very last boss, and then been forced to quit against my will. This game was literally just because I played through half of the first world and immediately decided to get the hell out of there. That's right, I hate this game for so many reasons that I literally had to make an entire different section about it. Number 1, this is normally where I would put the gummy ship sections, but in this game, there actually are no gummy ship sections. The entire game takes place inside of Castle Oblivion, so the only interworld travel sections in this game are the cutscenes in between worlds where Donald, Goofy, and Sora exit the last room, talk for 30 seconds in the hallway, and then immediately go to the next room anyways. Speaking of worlds, in this game, the worlds that the trio visits are based off of their memories and can therefore only be places that they've been to before. Because of this, not only are there only returning worlds and no new ones, but there's actually one less world. Deep Jungle, the Tarzan world, is completely missing from this game due to a licensing issue and will never ever appear again. As for my next complaint, as I said in the story segment of the video earlier, this game actually gives no explanation whatsoever to how Riku and the king escaped from the Land of Darkness in the first game. Well, okay, that's not entirely true. At the beginning of Riku's story, Ansem speaks to him and feeds him some mumbo-jumbo about how he lost the battle against darkness in the Land of Darkness and is now floating in the lanes between light and dark, but it's extremely brief and doesn't actually give a real answer to the question. This game is an absolute jumbled up mess and does not deserve to be published. Similar to Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories did actually receive a remake with amped up graphics when it was put on the 1.5 to 2.5 Xbox pack. Unlike Kingdom Hearts 1, however, there is absolutely nothing new with the game this time around as far as I can see. Interestingly enough though, in Nomura's attempt to make playing every single Kingdom Hearts game as financially taxing as possible, he decided to make a version of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advanced. This game is a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up that tells the same story as the console version of Recom, but worse. I'm not entirely sure why, but this is actually most people's favorite version of the game. In conclusion, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories is an absolute train wreck, dumpster fire, dog water video game made in 2004 that doesn't deserve to be published. Okay. I'll be serious. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories is the culmination of the video game designers attempting to do something different with the Kingdom Hearts franchise, and it ended up blowing up in their face. Do I think that they kind of deserved it for trying to change the formula of Kingdom Hearts on only the second game ever? Maybe a little. But at the end of the day, this game was a solid attempt at creativity, and I think in another life it could have been pretty fun. Psst. Hey, you know what I'm thankful for this Thanksgiving season? My YouTube channel. I have no idea how, but I suddenly gained a huge explosion of subscribers ever since that last Kingdom Hearts video, and it absolutely blew me away. For those of you who enjoyed these 2 Kingdom Hearts videos, you can absolutely bet that I'm going to do an entire series, especially now. So, if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, leaving a comment about why you liked it, and sharing it with your next door neighbors so that they can enjoy this stuff too. So, until next time, goodbye!